Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, March the 7th, 2024. We're going to go ahead and convene into a regular council meeting. The time is now 7 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. The first thing we're going to do is our invocation led by Kenny Carter with Alvin Methodist Church. And then we're going to do the pledges of allegiance. Councilwoman DeKaiser will do our American pledge, and the Texas pledge will be led by none other than. Thank you.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day, and just thank you for the breath that you breathed into us this morning and got us moving today, and we come to this place tonight, Lord. I thank you that you have the council gathered to make decisions and conduct business for this great city and community of Alvin. Lord, I thank you for their servants' hearts of the council that have answered your call in their life into leadership. Lord, I ask that they would seek your counsel as they direct and make decisions for the safety and the health of family environments and business in this great community as well. Let them be united and hear one another in making decisions, Lord. Allow them to always have that peripheral vision of all that's going on so that when the decisions are made, that would truly be the best for the community and for the city. Even in difficult or unpopular decisions, Lord, let the outcome be the best for the people and the environment. Lord, I ask you to guide their thoughts and minds to be yours, to encourage them at just the right time, and to pace them to get rest that they need both physically and mentally, Lord. I ask you to also give them what they need, God, in their leadership to be able to make sure they make time for themselves to be healthy and to be able to be there for their families and for this community as well. I thank you for all that you're going to do and the decisions that they'll make, Lord. I ask your blessing upon them in bountiful ways, double anointing of your Holy Spirit to be poured upon them in this day and all days. For it is in your mighty name that we pray, Jesus Christ. Amen. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. It's a beautiful prayer. Thank you. Hi, Dixie. Jumping the gun, I like it. Next, our presentation from our Alvin City Secretary for her annual departmental presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me a brief opportunity tonight to just tell you a little bit about what our City Secretary has done. I have Vanna over here changing my slides tonight, so thank you very much. With that, I just want to introduce our staff. Myself, I serve as a City Secretary for Alvin, along with Sarah Cruz. They're here in spirit tonight. Sarah Cruz is our Deputy City Secretary, and Suzanne Reed is our Records Clerk, who also serves as the main switchboard operator for the city. And let me just say that I wear multiple hats, and I would not be able to do that without the outstanding staff that I have. They serve alongside of me, and they serve with great pride for our community. So with that, let's start off with a fun fact. Some of you, let's see if you know. Did you know that the city secretary profession is actually found in the Bible? It's found in the book of Acts as a town clerk. And in the city of Ephesus, this town clerk dispersed the crowd that was about to attack Paul. Now, I would come and help you guys. I could do that if I had to. So just with that, yes, I know. With that, just saying how important in that time, biblical time as well, they took record and notes of the city and what was happening. So it was important then, and it's still important today. Just recording the happenings of the city. So what is it that we do? We prepare, distribute, and post city council agendas and packets. We post all board and commission agendas and make sure that their minutes are taken. We handle all public information requests except for the police department. We publish notices for all of our bids. We prepare proclamations for mayor and city council presentation. We oversee municipal elections. Even though we do contract with the county, we do our part in all of the paperwork and filings and all of that. We archive all ordinances, resolutions, minutes, contracts, and agreements. So in FY23, the City Secretary's Office prepared, distributed, and posted 36 City Council agendas and packets. We posted 50 Board and Commission agendas, fulfilled 350 public information requests, published and opened 7 sealed bids, 7 requests for qualifications, prepared 20 proclamations, archived 37 ordinances, 44 resolutions, 86 sets of minutes, 115 contracts and agreements. And we successfully oversaw the 2023 municipal general election, where we had 917 voters, which is 5.97% of all of the Alvin registered voters. We have 15,353. And with that being 900, that was a lot. That's a lot for a 2023 election, because we usually 300. So we're making strides there. So with the next slide, our official duties continue as we conduct research for both internal and external personnel. We process cities' required legal notices and ordinance and captions for publication. We attest documents, and we administer oaths and serve as the city's notary. We ensure that records are authenticated, archived, and codified as appropriate. So once City Council adopts ordinances, they go into our code book, and that is codified annually. Those ordinances are also kept online. Once they're adopted, they do show up on our website. They're just not codified, and we do that annually. Moving on, records management. The city secretary serves as the records management officer for the entire city. I'm not sure if you're aware, our off-site storage facility is located at the museum in the basement. It could double as a haunted house. If you ever would like a tour, we can help you with that. We are working to get our information archived electronically. A lot of our records recovery, in case that there was ever a disaster, all of our vital records are stored electronically, meaning financial records or historical records. We would be able to pick the city up and keep running. We establish, maintain the records management program for the city of Alvin, and we ensure that we are in compliance with state retention schedules. And so moving on to Oak Park Cemetery, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but we do coordinate the sale of cemetery burial spaces for the city cemetery. We coordinate the installation of headstones and plat markers. We handle all of the records for the cemetery, and we keep track of all who is buried in our cemetery. All of that is electronic. We get many, many requests. Can you tell me where a loved one is buried so I can go visit, so on and so forth. Along with the Parks and Recreation Department, we handle 4 quarterly cleanups of our cemetery. So with that, in FY23, 71 burial spaces were sold for a total amount of approximately $80,000, and a total of 73 burials were conducted, of which we facilitate all of the records. We also, the engineering department also comes out and locates every grave to prepare for a service, or they're marked for the funeral homes. So moving on with that, Public Information Officer. In 2015, the City Secretary's Office took over this role. It is a fun job. It's a fun hat that I wear. We manage the city's website, which last year we did a complete overhaul of our website. We manage the city's main social media pages. We coordinate information to the local media outlets. We are the liaison to all of the departments to gather all of the information so that we can push it out. My staff and I, we publish the Alvin change Athlin's position a little bit, and she is our marketing and tourism officer now, so she has helped establish a branding guide for the city and being able to push out more video, more upscale content, and we just hope to continue to build upon that. As we continue to grow as a city, I think it's very important just to be as transparent as possible, and that's what we try to do. We are members of the Brazoria County Public Information Officers Association, as well as the Texas Association of Municipal information officers. We receive and log and track all public information requests, and we distribute them to all of the departments. And again, like I said, we coordinate information in dispensing media releases. So with that, the next slide is just about getting connected. I would just, everybody here, and if you're watching online, all the information you could ever want to know is found on our city website, our social media outlets. Click on it, discover, you can pay your water bill, you can pay your court citation, you can log to repair a pothole, you can sign up for a building permit. So we try to make everything as accessible as possible. And with that, I started with the employees, and I'm going to end with the employees. They really are our biggest asset. I'm totally blessed to serve the city of Alvin as the city secretary. We have a wonderful city manager. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you, council, for your leadership. We have so many wonderful things going on in the city. I know I talked fast trying to get everything through, but I appreciate the opportunity that I get every couple of years just to tell you a little bit about what we do in the city secretary's office as that hat that I wear. So with that, I will entertain any questions that you may have.
You mentioned Suzanne and Sarah, but you didn't mention Stell.
Well, that's just a given. I mean, she's really the boss of everybody.
Just making sure. Well, the public doesn't know that, so
they don't know that. But she is loved and cherished by our employees and citizens alike. She gets more visitors than we do. So, yes, sir.
A few years ago, you were microfishing all of our old records. What percentage of that is completed at this time?
We have still a lot of older records that we probably won't. We are scanning in all of our vital records. So we have some historical records that we just need to keep, but our financial records are our ordinances and resolutions, our HR files. We just brought permitting on a few years ago. So most of that, our vital records have been completed, but it's just some of the older historical records that we have to save, that we have to keep for ever and a day that we have down there. And we do, like I said, with the shredding day, we go over there annually and we have them all labeled, our boxes. So they're slowly filtering out, but there's quite a few older records that are still over there. Like police department records, they have to keep their stuff, a lot of that, court records for a significant amount of time. So.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Dixie, thank you. You and your team are amazing.
Thanks. I
We
appreciate it.
appreciate you. Save your breath. You got a big part coming up. Okay, thank you, Dixie. Moving on, we've got 3 public comments. As I call your name, please come up to the front, and you've got 3 minutes to address council. As a reminder, we are not allowed to engage with you. But first is Laura Myers.
Hi, I'm Laura Myers. Y'all know me as the election judge. I'll be short and sweet. This is my 20th year doing it, and I've always gotten comments of things people like, things they don't like. This year has been way more comments, negative. Being able to get into the building to get voting by older people, commenting about parking way out there. Maybe I have a suggestion, if y'all could, like when y'all do the festival, have certain spots and let them draw out of a hat or something to pick the closest spot to the door, but just move them down a little bit. The second thing I want to talk about is all the signage. There is so much signage. You can't see. I get comments about people saying when they're trying to pull out, their view is blocked. So maybe y'all could do something, square footage on signage, or else a minimum of or a maximum of like 5 signs or something. So, and to me, it's just really gotten out of hand. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Next, Suzanne Dillman.
I'm the Republican election clerk, and I'm just saying, I'm here to say thank y'all for being here, but I was working as a clerk this past week, And I know that being homeless in this town is not illegal, and it's not offensive, and they're entitled to their public spaces. But during the voting this past week, it was beyond belief. I witnessed people coming into the bathroom, inhaling drugs. It was witnessed people going into the back of the library, tying their dogs up to furnitures. People, our public, cannot use the library because of the fact there's homeless laying on the couches. We have children going in there trying to get story time. They've got people over there measuring stuff in their minds. It was just quite perplexed to see what I was witnessing. We had homeless intertwining with the voters. We had them intertwining with everybody. It was getting just out of hand. I had a prepared speech to read to y'all, but I just had a passion about that. And I'm right there with Laura. That parking lot, I'm sorry, was a zoo. And I know several people that were very close to me that were out there. But initially, there's got to be something laid out. And I said something to Joelle about this. Have some sort of ordinance of marking that parking lot, saying 1 through 10. This is where you get to stand. This is where you get to stand. This is where you get to stand. I got this is a free country and we're allowed to roam wherever we want to, but there's got to be something out there. I saw somebody literally get out of their car and say they were getting ready to go over and whoop somebody else's rear posterior because they couldn't get out of the parking lot because of the way everything was. And I was just like going, I couldn't believe this. So y'all take it into consideration. Maybe have an officer go into the library periodically, see what's going on. I think if there's a presence, I think that some of the homeless would kind of meander back out. And I hate to say it, but those folks in there are not from Alvin. They're being bussed in, they're being carted in. I can tell you one morning I witnessed sitting in the tavern parking lot, waiting on my husband to come out before we went to church, a Pearland police cruiser pull up, open up his tailgate, get a wheelchair out, opened up his rear passenger, and a homeless man got out and went off under the pavilion. So, I'm not a citizen of this town, but I am a resident of Brazoria County, and I do work here in this city, so I'm just bringing it to y'all's attention. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Michael Fulton, Constable-elect, Precinct 1.
Good evening. Again, my name is Mike Fulton. I'm currently the Chief Deputy Precinct 2 Constable, and I'm the newly, my very first presentation, newly elected Constable-elect of Precinct 1. I just want to say, over the last 2 years of campaigning, I've gotten to know most of the people up here and a lot of people in the city of Alvin, and I've learned that really, in many ways, y'all, in my opinion, were overlooked in the political spectrum. It seems like everybody wanted to worry about the 288 corridor, and Alvin kind of got left behind. When I sat at the farmers markets, people came up to me, they were hungry for information and just knowledge, and when they had problems, someone to talk to. And I just wanted to say, looking at the voter boxes, Alvin overwhelmingly, more than anyone else in the county, voted me in, and I'm humbled by the returns, and I just wanted to say publicly, I am very, very anxious to get working with the police department, you as the city leaders in the city of Alvin and the citizens in Alvin and the greater community outside of Alvin when I become the actual constable, Precinct 1, January 1st next year. So I know a lot of people don't know, some do, but January 23, Alvin historically has always been Precinct 3, and about 30–40% of your city was moved into Precinct 1, and that's caused a lot of confusion. A lot of people don't know their city or county governments, and I just want to say I'm here and I'm looking forward to working with y'all and to serve the community any way I could and have an open door policy to any of y'all, including the citizens, if there's ever any problem that I can help solve. So thank y'all very much. Thank you for what you do. It's definitely not an easy job. It was my first political run. I value y'all even more now, having to go through one. So I do appreciate it. And y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, that is all for public comments. Moving on to consent agenda. Councilman Garvey, is there anything you'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
No, sir.
No, Mayor.
No, sir.
No, Mayor.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
All in favor, please vote.
Okay, y'all can take just a
Dixie's
quick
your
little
time to shine.
relaxation. Okay, so approved on the consent agenda are the minutes from February 1st workshop and regular meeting. Item C, February 15th workshop and minutes. Item C, City Council workshop minutes. And item E, addendum number 1 for a 1-year renewal agreement with Hawkins Inc. to provide sodium bisulfite for an amount not to exceed $15,000 and authorize the city manager to sign the addendum upon legal review. Item F, consider addendum number 1 for a 1-year renewal agreement with Hawkins Inc. to provide polyphosphate for an amount not to exceed $35,000 and authorize the city manager to sign the addendum upon legal review. Item G, consider addendum number 1 for a 1-year renewal agreement with DXI Industries Inc., now known as PVSDX Inc., to provide sodium hypochlorite in an amount not to exceed $65,000 and authorize the city manager to sign the addendum upon legal review. Item H, consider ratification of a resolution 24R08 finding that the statement of intent Centerpoint Energy Resources Corp. DBA Centerpoint Energy Intex and Centerpoint Energy to change rates filing with the city should be denied, finding that the city's reasonable rate case expenses shall be reimbursed by the company, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed is open to the public as required by law, requiring notice of this resolution to the company and legal counsel. Item I, resolution 24R09, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Alvin, Texas, approving the utility conveyance and security agreement accepting the water distribution, wastewater collection, and stormwater facilities that serve Imperial Forest Section 1, and authorize the mayor to sign upon legal review. Item J, resolution 24R10, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Alvin, Texas, approving the utility conveyance and security agreement accepting the water distribution, wastewater collection, and stormwater facilities that serve Imperial Forest Section 2, and authorize the mayor to sign upon legal review. Item K, resolution 24R11, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Alvin, Texas, approving the utility conveyance and security agreement accepting the water distribution, wastewater collection, and stormwater facilities that serve Mustang Crossing Section 7, and authorize the mayor to sign upon legal review. Item L, resolution 24R12, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Alvin, Texas, approving the utility conveyance and security agreement accepting the water distribution, wastewater collection, and stormwater facilities that serve the Mustang Ridge Section 1 and 2, and authorize the mayor to sign upon legal review. Item M, acknowledge receipt of the 2023 racial profiling report submitted annually to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement and the Alvin City Council as required by Article 2.134 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures. Item N, consider awarding a bid 2401, ambulance chassis to Ron Carter Ford for the purchase of 1 ambulance chassis utilizing American Rescue Plan Act funds in an amount not to exceed $53,815. Item O, consider awarding a bid 2401, ambulance chassis to Ron Carter Ford for the purchase of 1 ambulance chassis utilizing funds as budgeted in the FY 23-24 budget for a total amount not to exceed $53,815. Item P, consider a proposal with Horizon International Group through the Choice Partners JOC Cooperative Purchasing Network for an electromechanical lock set replacement for the Alvin Police Department jail doors in an amount not to exceed $151,530 and authorize the city manager to sign related documents upon legal review. Item Q, consider approval of the updated Gulf Region Information and Dispatch Interlocal Agreement for implementation and operation of grid system with the City of League City. Item R, consider the authorization of the sale of out-of-service police Motorola radios to Sunny Communications in amount not to exceed $41,500 and authorize the city manager to sign related documentation upon legal review. Item S, consider an engineering services agreement with Freese and Nichols Engineering for an amount not to exceed $180,000 for engineering services for the Environmental Protection Agency Lead and Copper Rural Revision Compliance Program Phase 2 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement upon legal review. Item T, consider the purchase of Microsoft software and related services for the City of Alvin from SHI Government Solutions through DIR contract DIR CPO 5237 for a term of 3 years for an annual cost not to exceed $85,855.84 and authorize the city manager to sign related documents upon legal review. Item U, consider the purchase of a 2024 Caterpillar excavator from Mustang Machinery Company LLC through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program in an amount not to exceed $57,473.29 expense and authorize the city manager to sign related documents upon legal review. Item V, consider authorizing the city manager to sign a letter to Brazoria County Mosquito Control District for the continuation of aerial spraying services for the 2024 season. Item W, consider a master preliminary plat of Preservation Creek Phase 2 located along the south side of FM 1462 1.0 miles east of State Highway 288 intersection, being a plan unit development of 175.26 acres out of the CM Hayes Survey, Section 8, Abstract 534, and the W.C. Hall Survey, Abstract number 69, and portions of the Kanawha, Texas Company Subdivision, City of Alvin, Brazoria County, Texas. Item X, acknowledge receipt of the Parks and Recreation Board 5-year list of recommended park improvement projects. Mayor?
Great job. Yeah. Some might say that was biblical. That's-
It's biblical.
I'd just like to take a minute and say something. That's probably the longest consent agenda we've ever had, and some of you may be thinking, and those that may be watching online, so you see all these expenditures coming through the consent agenda. They're on the consent agenda. We don't deliberate those because they were already budgeted, and these are things that the council had already put in our plan, and so it's just a matter of getting things through the budget and working through our process as a council. And then, of course, some of these things didn't actually require any action to be taken, like the last one. We're just acknowledging receipt of a certain plan. But thank you, Dixie, for reading all those. Moving on to other business. First item for deliberation is to consider an agreement for use of the public water system identification number with W Land Development and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement upon legal review. Brandon?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Yes, Mayor and Council. W Land is developing the 2,900-acre Preservation Creek Master Plan community in the city of Alvin, in the city limits, which will include the construction of a public water system that will be serviced by their mud once it's created. The Texas Administrative Code requires a public water system ID be included with any public water system construction plans submitted to TCEQ either by a public entity or on behalf of the public entity. To date, Preservation Creek does not have a public water system ID because their mud has not been created. And as a result, they're not able to submit plans to TCEQ for review. And so endeavoring to submit the construction plans while at the same time creating their mud, W Land is requesting approval of the agreement that you have before you, which would allow them to temporarily use the city's public water system ID on behalf of the future Preservation Creek mud. Now, the terms of the agreement would generate little to no risk as the city will not incur any costs. Secondly, once the mud is created, the IDs will be transferred from the city to the mud. And prior to the public water system going online, the IDs would be transferred from the city to the mud. So Lisa Clark and her legal team is here if you have any specific questions. Otherwise, staff recommends approval of this agreement.
We did approve the mud already, correct? Okay, just
Yes.
in process.
Yes.
The creation of it, yeah.
Okay.
They just haven't actually created.
And this is common. This is not an unusual request. It happens with other municipalities.
Why did you bring your lawyers in?
She's always getting an entourage.
Just in case.
Mayor, move to approve an agreement for the use of public water system identification number with W Land Development and authorize the mayor to sign upon legal review.
Second.
Please vote.
Councilmember Castro. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you. Item B, consider a memorandum of understanding between the Community Health Network and the City of Alvin to provide a qualified mental health professional to work in conjunction with the Community Health Network and the city, and authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding upon legal review.
Mayor, Council, several meetings ago, I kind of talked about this briefly, about joining a partnership with Community Health Network in order to bring more mental health services to the city. About, I guess it was last August or so, Community Health Network did a Coffee Connections with a chamber, and at that time they announced they were going to be expanding their mental health services in the city, and as soon as they quit talking, I grabbed Ezra Garcia, the vice president in charge of government affairs, public relations, and said, hey, we should work together and create a position to work with the mental health detective that's already at the PD to try to mitigate some of the people entering the criminal justice system and to get help to some of our citizens that have issues with mental health. Now, this is not a response team. It's not what it's designed to be. I'm having every officer in the department certified as a mental health officer, so we've got that covered. What happens after is generally when the problems occur. We get called out 9 times a day on the same person because they're not getting any help, so forth and so on. I think the last time I met with Mr. Garcia, the number was somewhere around 1,500 calls at that point in time that we received, and this was like last October or November, and that was from the previous January. So in less than 24 months, we'd had 1,500 plus calls, mental health related. And that's just the one the officer remembered to write MHMR possible out behind the thing. Sometimes they don't do that. If you got the same person 7, 8, 9 times a day, they may do it on the first call, but they don't document the next call, and there's still calls for service. So anyway, I got with Ms. Garcia, and we discussed the possibility of having it, and they were all for it. In fact, he already offered to do 2 people, but I'm like, let's get the program going to begin with. So this MOU would allow them to hire somebody, and it is a 50-50 cooperation. I explained that last time, but I'll explain it again. The reason 50-50 is because they offer a lot of services, but if it's something that they cannot offer, but we have a contact that does, there's no conflict of interest if they go outside their network to get this person or person's help. That's why it's a 50-50 partnership. And Ms. Garcia is here today if you have any questions.
Garcia, will you step forward, please?
Sure.
Lower the microphone a little bit for you.
Oh, thank you, because I'm vertically challenged, huh?
Would you please give us your view on this?
So, with the growing need of mental health services, we feel like it's important to cross partnerships between just leaving it public alone to increase that partnership by having public-private. Congress, several sessions ago, authorized qualified mental health professionals and billing for that. And Senator Cornyn authorized that funding to be solely through municipalities and through private industries. We believe that not one single organization can meet the need. And we believe that while police officers and other law enforcement agencies are certainly qualified to address certain situations, they are not qualified for continuity of care. And that is where private sector comes in and helps offset the cost and helps reduce the likelihood of readmissions or into the jails or prisons for that matter. So we believe it's a win-win for both the city and both for us because we have the resources at our disposal to make sure that patients get access to care.
This is a positive step forward, most definitely is, for our department and for the community. There's been a great need. The state of Texas doesn't have the greatest programs for mental health, but this also moves our city forward into a very progressive city. First of all, having a mental health detective in itself, but then having the assistance of the Community Health Network. I applaud you on it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Any questions? No? I, for one, would like to echo Councilman Starkey's remarks. CHN is a invaluable resource in our community. We're very fortunate to have you guys in more than one location, as a matter of fact. So thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Community Health Network and the City of Alvin to provide for a qualified mental health professional to work in conjunction with the Community Health Network and the city, and authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding upon legal review.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, last, consider if any requests from individual council members. Councilman Garvey?
No, sir.
Mayor, it's been brought up multiple times, and obviously we had two public comments where it was brought up about our homeless issue here in Alvin. I'm not sure what direction we probably need to go, or this needs to be on a council agenda or a workshop, but I think that we probably need to digest it a little bit more. But I do think that something definitely needs to be done. When I travel the city late at night or early in the morning, there is an obvious presence, or we have an issue. And I don't see it in any of our neighboring cities, but for some reason, I definitely do know that this is not the first time that I have personally heard that people are being trucked in or transported. I think the wrong message is getting out that we provide or somebody provides a service here when they don't, and it's unfortunate. I do understand that people need help and people suffer, but I don't think that Alvin is the appropriate place for an all-inclusive that we're going to take care of all the problems and all the issues. I can go to Manville, I can go to Santa Fe, I can go to Pearland. I don't see it. I call the police department at least twice a week that people are sitting on the corner of 35 and Highway 6 collecting money, or that they're, disrupting traffic, getting in and out of certain businesses. And we definitely need to do something here. We should have done something prior, but what that was, I don't know. But we definitely need to start looking into it a lot harder before it even continues to get more out of hand. So I'll personally be looking at certain things as well, and I think that we collectively as a council and also as a government body and with citizen input, we need to do something quick.
Thank you.
If I could just clarify, because technically it's an item for the next agenda, are you okay if we don't do it the next meeting, but look like in a future meeting instead of the next meeting? Are you okay if?
Yeah, a future meeting, yes,
Okay.
and that's at the beginning. I
Okay.
don't think it needs to be at a workshop or a council meeting. I think we need to digest it and separate. I don't want to just run out there and just say, hey, look, let's just discuss it and
Okay.
waste anybody's time right now. But we need to get this on our thought process and actually come up with a plan or a solution.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I got the VFW. We've been working with them trying to get them the EMS building, the old EMS building and everything. And we've been looking at it for 2 years now, and I'd like to see if we could get some motion in a direction for them. They're getting ready to lose some funding from psychiatric people or different organizations that we're going to be bringing in there because they don't have somewhere to put them on it. So I'd like to see about us moving forward with that in some way or form, let them know at least which way to go with it.
Mayor, I'd like for staff to explore if there's any options to control that voting area that they brought up today. I feel like we could probably contain an area to where they're not in the way of the parking. I went there and it was horrible. It was hard to park and it was hard to get in. Saw people struggling with it. So I'm in agreement. I just don't know how we could do it and not violate voting laws, and I'd like for staff to explore options for that.
I believe they are, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
No, sir?
No, sir.
Yes, I would like to review expanding to 2 mental health detectives. When we originally brought this forward, I asked for 2, but we were only given 1, and now we're moving forward with the responsibilities of a CHN professional. And I've also made inquiries, and workload has definitely increased. And so now it's time to have the second person. And I would like the city manager to review that in the coming budget.
Reports from city manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, Tour de Bras is this Saturday at ACC. We currently have about 558 registered for this event. As you know, this event is spearheaded by Athlon and requires a lot of collaboration with staff and department heads. And we just want to thank her and the Alvin team for their participation and input in this, and also the sponsors as well. And for those who will be coming in to Alvin from out of town, we want to welcome you to Alvin. Secondly, the Alvin Animal Adoption Center is hosting free pet adoptions every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in March from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Each pet will be spayed, microchipped, dewormed, and given first round of vaccinations. Pets will only be available to approved adopters. There's some stipulations on that it's going to be required. And lastly, on March 18th, the city will be signing the final closing documents for the acquisition of the YMCA building, at which time scheduled updates will begin. And so we ask that you stay connected to our social media outlets for updates from the city secretary's office. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, next items of community interest. Councilman Starsky.
Nothing.
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir. Got item of community interest?
He already said no.
Oh, okay, I thought you were looking at him.
Do you have any items?
Alvin Music Festival coming up in 2 weeks. We have a cook-off, music festival, kids area. We need judges, a lot of judges. Please reach out.
Where can they sign up for judges? On your website?
On the website, yes.
Okay. Excellent. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Next, we're going to convene into executive session, particularly section 551.074 of the government code to for the deliberation or appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. So with that, the time is 7:42, and we will go into executive session. The time is now 8:21 p.m. We will reconvene into open session. Is there a motion coming out of executive session?
Mayor, I move to approve the city manager's recommendation for the appointment of Paul Chavez as the Economic Development Director.
Second. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Woo! Congratulations, Mr. Chavez. And with that, we're adjourned at 8:22 p.m.